Hi there, I'm Rod Bergeron, and welcome back to another quick and easy watercolor painting. It's fall here in southern Ontario, so I'm looking at some fall scenes everywhere I go, and I've wet the top two-thirds of this page, and I'm going to put some blue in, maybe put a little bit more blue in that's a little bit more intense than that. All right, that's not too bad. And we're just gonna let that bleed together and do its own thing. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of Payne's gray here, put a couple of Payne's gray streaks in there, and rinse my brush out really well. And I'm gonna pick up a whole bunch of this green. And because we're trying to make a fall scene, we're gonna use a little bit of green, but not a lot. That's probably all the green we're gonna use. Rinse your brush out really well. And I'm going to pick up some red here. Okay, and we're just going to tap our red into a few places, just like that. All right, rinse that out. And I'm going to pick up a whole bunch of this yellow. Now, this particular yellow is lemon yellow. And I'm going to pick it up a little bit more intensely than that. We're going to put that all through there. And again, we're just going to let that all bleed together, do its own thing. I'm going to pick up some yellow ochre here, quite a bit of yellow ochre. And I'm just going to swoop it across the front here a little bit more intensely than that. And you can use whatever you have on your brush. Drop it into a few places like that. All right. Okay. I'm going to rinse that out, and I'm going to pick up some sienna. This is kind of a mucky sienna that's going on here, but let's put a little bit of sienna in a few places. All right, like that. Now we're gonna scribe into this sienna with this, which is my #1 round watercolor brush. We're gonna put a couple of scribe marks in like that. That's not too bad. All right. I think we need a little bit of dark in this, so I'm gonna pick up a little bit of Payne's gray here on my brush. Just a little bit of Payne's gray. Touch it in a few places. Get a little bit of dark going in a few places there. That's not too bad. All right, let's rinse our brush off. And we're gonna paint in some water. So this is all going to be water across here. Rinse your brush off really well. And we're gonna pick up quite a bit of blue, as much blue as your brush will hold. So the idea is we're going to connect this onto the blue line, and this color should bleed down into the blue, which will give us a reflection in the water. Okay, so let's try this. So one pass, you might have to turn your brush to get it all the way through. Okay, so turn your brush like that, and then a little bit more blue across here. And that's basically all that you want to do for right now. Just let this color bleed down into that, and let some of the blue bleed up into there, and just leave it for now. Okay, don't try to augment this too much. If you want, you can come through some of this Payne's gray here, put some more foliage in the front, but don't touch any of this. Okay, just leave it. You need it to completely dry before we do the next step. One last thing before we go, let's take some salt, and we're just going to put a little bit of salt in the tree line up here, and maybe just a little bit of salt across the bottom there, wherever you want a little bit of drama to be. Okay, and then let's let this dry now. All right, so the salt's done some pretty cool stuff for us around here. I mean, look at some of this stuff. But we're going to augment this a little bit. I'm going to use my Sharpie pen, okay? I'm just going to install some shoreline across here and double these lines up a little bit. And we're going to put some fairly tall pine trees in here. And I'm going to double both of those lines up like that. And we're going to do the same over on this side. fairly long, tall pine trees. Don't worry if your lines aren't too straight. All right, just like that. And we're gonna put this pen away now, and I'm gonna grab my #1 round watercolor brush, and I'm gonna grab some Payne's gray, and I'm gonna put a little bit more intensely than that. I'm gonna put some foliage onto these pine trees, and I'm gonna do it by just tapping the brush onto the page, okay? So you're going to go over this several times. I'm going to speed this footage up a little bit so you don't have to watch me do each and every one of them, but it's just stippling. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to grab a little bit more Payne's gray, and we're going to put some jagged shoreline across here. And this is in northern Ontario, and most of this area is rock. There's really very little other than just rock, and we're going to put this in here fairly rough because that's the way it really is. And I'm just going to keep building up some layers here. So this is dry on dry, so I'm getting some touching the brush onto the pigment with no additional water, so that's why it's dry on dry. And I'm going to build up a little bit more darkness in our trees here, so I went back to the pigment and I touched it into the little bit of wash that I had there, and we're just going to build up some more very dark layer here. You know, and you might want to revisit this, you know, even 3, 4, 5 times just to build up a whole bunch of different layers. However it is that you think about your pine trees. You know, don't. All right, let's have a quick look at this. Look at the shoreline here. Doubling up those lines, doing all these different layers in the trees. That's turned out fabulous. The water, the reflection in the water, the sky has turned out great in this. Look at how the combination of that Payne's gray and that blue. What happens when we put our mat on here? Let's check that out. Wow, that's, I'm gonna tell you, that might be one of the best paintings I've done on YouTube ever. It might be the best one. It's certainly in the top 10, I'll tell you that. All right, I'd love to know what you think of it. Let me know in the comments section. I'd love to know where you're from. If you drop me a line in the comments section, let me know where you're from. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, if you're currently a subscriber, thank you very much. And if you're not currently a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching today, and we'll see you again next time. Put my little RB on there.